What a great thing, making music. It brings joy to you, and it brings joy to others. It's wonderful. And being with the Royal Knights, this was like a coming home party with the guys, because we really gelled. We worked hard, we gelled, and when we played, we held our own.
This last show we did was the greatest thing in my lifetime. The greatest. And I cried on stage of happiness. Afterwards, I hugged every single lady in Madawaska, Maine. I hugged every guy in Madawaska, Maine. I was so damn happy.
I talk to these kids who play video games today, and they're all into this Guitar Hero stuff and all that stuff. And I say, why do you play that stuff? And they all say, hey, you got to do it for real. We didn't get that chance, you know? So right there, you think, you know, yeah, we did. We got to do it for real.
This is something I've never said to any of the guys in the Royal Knights. I want to thank the three of them. I want to thank Paul and Eddie and Guy. And I would like to look at them right in the face and say, listen, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the ride. And what an incredible ride it has been. And guys, thank you. Thank you for letting me share it.
Guy and I hung around over here since we were 2 years old. We were best of friends. Paul and I lived on this side. Guy lived down the road a little bit. Paul and I grew up on the second floor, right here. But out of this window, this was our living room. Upstairs, looks like there's bullet holes in the window. Look at that. You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Looks like bullet holes in there. Wow, I'm glad I'm not living there anymore.
I never thought in a million years I'd be sitting on the porch with you at the age of 60s. And we were here at 2 years of age, sitting on that same porch. Eddie and I and Paul, we were brought up on the same street in Lewiston. And maybe around the age of 9 or 10, we weren't interested in girls, and we preferred music. And so we all got together and said we should play music. And Eddie and I, we started playing guitar.
Guy happened to pass the paper at Fern's Taxi. He said, Dick Obie, he's got to Fender Jazzmaster. He's got to ride at Fern's Taxi. Then I said, boy, I'd give my right arm to have one of those guitars. He said, well, you know, if you're interested in that guitar, I could probably work out something with this. What do you mean? He said, well, you know, you get that harmony guitar that you got. That's a pretty nice little guitar. And I said, yeah, it plays pretty good. And then he said, if you gave me that, and at Morris Music Mart, they got a harmony acoustic. So I think it's also like $65. If you got that guitar and gave me your guitar, I'd let you have it. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I said, are you serious? And I came home with a Jazzmaster, and it was a heavy guitar, you know. And I remember walking home, walking through the park to get to Pierce Street. I must have had a smile that was from ear to ear. I was so excited, you know. Boy, that really got me going. Once I had a Jazzmaster, it was like I was practicing every minute I had.
Yes, it's me. I'm here to apologize. I'm sorry that I made you cry. Won't you please give me another try? 'Cause I know I was wrong. I was wrong. 'Cause I know I was wrong.
I still talk to kids today who say they'd spend all day Friday, girls and stuff, getting ready to go to the PalHop, you know, and all that stuff, because that was the biggest thing that ever happened around here.
How did it all start? It came a little bit from the band that I played with the Escorts. They were never too happy, I guess, that, and I'm sorry about that, but that I went with the Royal Knights.
And they'd yell out, they'd go, the Royal Knights suck. You know? And it was like, and they would do this. They'd walk in front of the store and do stuff like that, right? And my brother used to get so infuriated. After one of these moments where the guys had just passed, Herb Gendro comes in. And Paul says to Herb, he says, do you guys still raise money for the PAL? And he goes, yeah, all the time. He's like, you're looking for new ways? He says, we're always looking for new ideas. Paul says, you rent City Hall. We'll get the bands. We'll have a battle of the bands. You keep all the money.
So we gave it a try. So we had a dance on a Friday night. The following week, there was no dance. People were outside. Where's the dance? Where's the dance? So we went to see my friend, the musician, and they said, well, we'll organize you another dance. We did, and it kept on from there.
The place was packed. We had never seen a crowd like that. We wanted to win this thing, so we had dressed up like the Beatles. We had gone to Boston, and we had gotten the suits, like gray suits with the velour collars like the Beatles had.
Of course, if you were in the balcony, you could look down over the curtains and people saw us coming out, and we had the high drum riser and it said the Beatles on the front, and the word got around that the Beatles were actually there.
They went crazy. They went crazy. It was awesome. It's something that you never forget.
It was just like the Beatles. I mean, you couldn't hear yourself sing, you couldn't hear yourself talk. They screamed all the way through the whole show, you know.
So who won the Battle of the Bands?
Without bragging, I would think there were no contest on that one. These are Royal Knight collector cards from the 60s. I mean, they're not as popular as Babe Ruth or some of these guys, but there's a lot of people who still have them. And I think we used to give like a different one a week away for people who used to go to the PalHop and stuff, so people could collect them all, you know. Unfortunately, there's no way to make any money on them, but hey, it was great. It was great.
And welcome to Club 13 for another Saturday afternoon. And today, as you probably are well aware, as we opened it up with the Royal Knights, who are our guests in the club today. Certainly, fellas aren't strangers to us, because I wouldn't be a bit surprised what we've had you guys on the show how many times last year? Too many, he said. Okay.
Club 13 was like American Bandstand, where the kids, they'd play records and the kids would dance. They liked the way we interacted with the people. The kids liked us, and they started inviting us more often. And at one point, they made us the official Club 13 band.
And they'd always play our records, or we'd play our records live. And this was really, really great, because that was good advertising for us.
Television was a very powerful thing for us. So the combination of making records and being on TV was a great asset. We had opportunities, and we took advantage of them.
Any one of our records, I suppose, had the chance. I think it's every musician's dream to one day make it big and can say that they earn their living playing music. Yeah, of course, that's your dream. That's what you strive for. And the Royal Knights came awful close to that. Unfortunately, there was a draft at the time, there was a war going on at the time, and it pretty much trashed our dreams of accomplishing anything like that.
One night we were at rehearsal, and the guy came in, and he said, I got some bad news. We said, what do you mean bad news? He says, I just got drafted. That means I'm going to Vietnam. And we said, oh my God. And then within 2 months, Ron said, look, my number's coming up. I'm not going to wait till I get drafted. If I'm going to be in a branch of the service, I want to be in the Marines. So I've enlisted. After that, Paul and I, we just gave up on the idea of making it as a band. The purpose was gone. We lost the desire for it. We weren't creating anything anymore. So the Vietnam War demolished the Royal Knights. You remember the Royal Knights?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, that's me, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're playing next Saturday at the Coliseum.
How?
The bands from the 60s, all the good bands from the 60s.
Can't dance no more.
You don't have to dance, you can listen. This is the last one.
The last one?
It's gonna be the best one.
Okay.
The musicians are really working hard, and after that, that's it.
That's it.
That's gonna be a memory.
Kaput.
It's gonna be a memory.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, okay.
So very
I hadn't seen Ronnie since 1994. I hadn't seen Paul since 1994, and I hadn't seen Eddie since 1994. I mean, I was like, it was time. it was time because, you know, it's always here. But, you know, but doesn't matter how many years it is, when you're a true friend, you don't lose any of it. It's always there.
The real Royal Knights was Eddie, Paul, Ronnie, and Guy. That's when we created stuff. It was a unique combination of guys. After that, we didn't write until the reunion, the PalHop reunion this year. When we were rehearsing this song, we'd rehearse it. There was so much magic in the song that we would play it over and over and over, and it just got better and better and better.
Eddie wrote a song for it, and it was called The Last Hurrah. And it's too bad he didn't write that song in 1963, because I think it would have been a #1. Eddie and his band, if they had got a break, a little break, at the time with the stuff they had, Chief Whoopin-Koff and all these songs that they'd written, the original stuff that they'd done, could have been one of the big bands in the 60s. You know, they had the talent, they had the people, they had the looks, you know, and they had Eddy Boucher who had the mind.
What if we got a hit record at our age, Guy? You know, if we record The Last Hurrah and it became a big hit, does that mean we'd have to put the band back together and start touring?
Oh, that would be nice.
Jeez.
We can go tour to northern Maine.
Yeah, we'll go.
We can go tour in Allagash.